everyone, and welcome to my Postpartum Recovery Series. If you've already watched this intro and you know how to go through this, just skip ahead to the exercise part and get started with those. Otherwise, stick around because I have some important information to share so you can get the most out of these videos and out of these exercises. So let me explain to you what you'll get by going through this series. The goal is to help you regain awareness, functionality, and strength in your pelvic floor and your deep core muscles. And we do that by working progressively. So there are 7 parts in this series, and you really want to be mastering the exercises in part 1, making sure you feel confident with them, making sure you have noticed some progress in your body before moving on to part 2 and working like this all the way through part 7. So it's really important to take your time while you go through this series. If you ever notice some bulging or coning, it means you have gone too far, and really it doesn't matter if it takes you a little bit longer. Just make sure you have mastered those exercises and really feel good about them before taking the next step. And another very important point that I need to make is that the foundation of postpartum recovery is breath work. So we are going to work with our breath all the way throughout the series. As the exercises get more challenging, the breath work stays. And yes, it can get boring, but it is essential. So if you don't know how to properly perform a core breath, make sure to check out the step-by-step guide that I've made. I'll link it down below. But just as a quick recap, really inhale 360 degrees around your core, into your ribs, into your back, into your pelvic floor, and then on the exhale, we want to gently lift the pelvic floor, zip our core up, the navel comes up slightly, and we bring our ribs down and in. And again, we don't want to be holding tension, and we don't want to be gripping down. So also make sure that you continue to have a nice posture. Shoulders are open, chest is open, and our spine is in a neutral position. And the third point I want to make is to just take your time. There is no timeline to follow. Everybody moves at different speed. It's all going to depend on how you were before you got pregnant, how much you did, how much you exercised throughout the pregnancy, how your pregnancy developed, how your birth was. So really forget about the timeline. It could take you 4 months, it could take you 6 months, it could take you a year. It really doesn't matter. Another thing to note is that if you're breastfeeding, it can take your body a little bit longer to recover, as the prolactin levels are quite high in the body, and hormonally we just don't go back to our pre-pregnancy state until we stop breastfeeding. So to summarize, make sure you're working progressively through the series. Don't skip any steps. Take your time. Make sure you're mastering the breath work. We are really working from the inside out. We're starting with that inner core, the pelvic floor, the diaphragm, the transversus abdomen, and then working our way out. And by the end of it, you'll be able to perform any type of core exercise that you wish. And again, just take your time. And another quick side note, if you've had a C-section, you should do some scar work before starting with part 1. I will make a video for that as well and link it down below. So maybe it will take you a little bit longer before you can start with part 1. But again, it doesn't matter. We're going to forget about any timeline. But yeah, so just make sure you are mobilizing the scar and desensitizing it before we go and start activating all those muscles around the incision. And that's it. I hope it all makes sense. If you have any questions, just leave a comment down below, and let's get started with part 1. Hey everyone, this is part 2 of our postpartum recovery. Today we're going to go through 4 exercises, and you're going to need a ball or a small pillow. For the first exercise, we can set the ball aside, and we're going to go on our back, so come join me on the mat. And we're still working with small movements like we did in part 2. And of course, we're still working with our core breath. So this time, we're starting in this position, nice and neutral spine. Big inhale. Deep into the pelvic floor, into the sides. And on the exhale, we're going to drill, lift the pelvic floor, zip up the core, navel comes up and in slightly, and at the same time, we're going to slide one leg out. Really try to keep that connection with the core as you slide that leg out. Here we go again, switching sides. And on your exhale, zip it up. all the way. We don't want to leave any air in the lungs. Here we go. And lift the pelvic floor. Hug that core in. Hug the ribs in. Big inhale and other side. If you really feel like you can keep control of that core in the exhale, you can also add the arm coming down. So we're working diagonally, okay, so right leg, left arm. I'm gonna start here. Big inhale, and as I slide the leg out, zip the core up and drop the arm. Other side. Let's do one more each side. Very good. For our second exercise, we're gonna switch onto our sides. And here we want the bottom leg, the one on the mat, to be bent, elbow on the shoulder, and our top leg is going to be straight out. And from here, we're still working with our breath. I know it's boring, but just stick with me. Big inhale and zipping up, and as I zip up, I'm going to lift this top leg off the floor slightly and drop, reset. Big inhale. Always lifting gently, starting from the pelvic floor. And let's do one more. Very good. We're going to switch on to the other side. Bottom leg is bent. Top leg straightened out. Nice and neutral spine. Here we go. Big inhale. And let's do one more. Very good. For our third exercise, you can grab a hold of your ball or your pillow, and we're going to be in an all-fours position. The ball or pillow goes underneath one of the hands, spine in a neutral position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And here we still work with our breath. So big inhale And also here, lifting, starting from the pelvic floor, zipping that core up, and at the same time, I'm gonna push down on the ball. Pushing down on the ball helps increase that connection with the deep core. Think about hugging your core in on the exhale. Okay, we're switching sides. Really pushing down on that ball. Let's do 2 more. Okay, very good. We only got 1 more exercise to go through. For this one, we're going to start in a nice, relaxed kneeling position. And then we're going to push up and come onto our knees. Of course, we're going to work with our breath. So on the exhale, we're going to come up, and at the same time, we're going to squeeze the ball right here in front of our chest. So here we go. Inhale. And on the exhale, lift the pelvic floor, zip the core up. Lift, come onto your knees and squeeze. We're going to hold for 1 to 2 seconds and reset and repeat. We're always working with a nice audible exhale. And here we go, 1 more. Alright, well done. These are the 4 exercises for part 3. We keep building, and the exercises are getting more challenging. Ideally, you will be doing these once a day. I know there isn't always time, so just do the best that you can and really try to focus on that breathing technique and focus on that mind to muscle connection. I know it's boring and it isn't always obvious, okay, am I doing this right? Is it actually working? But stick with me, I promise it is going to help. We're really building during this postpartum phase. It is a little bit boring, but this is just what we have to do after pregnancy and labor. So again, you got this, and I'll see you in the next one.